There were tears shed at the University Avenue Courthouse on Sunday as Umar Zameer was found not guilty of first-degree murder and all other charges in the death of Detective Constable Jeffrey Northrup. Now, the high-profile case bringing out a lot of questions about how police should approach civilians, especially while they are in plain clothes, and what cases should be brought forward to trial. So joining us live now is criminal defense lawyer Daniel Brown to talk about the reaction to the verdict and what we can learn as well going forward. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us once again. You were here last week to talk about it, and now we're just kind of rounding this out after the verdict. What was your reaction to the not guilty on all charges?
Well, I think my reaction was the same as many. It was just a sigh of relief, really, that this ordeal was over for Mr. Zameer. I mean, this was certainly a tragedy for everyone. It was a tragedy for the Northrup family. It's a tragedy for the police. But it was also a tragedy for Mr. Zameer and his family. Remember, he was placed in jail and actually missed the birth of his second child because he was arrested and charged with murder in this case. And really, it's what most people thought, that this was a real overreach to charge with murder in the first place. And I'm relieved that that just simply didn't pan out in court.
It didn't happen. Yesterday, something happened after the verdict was read out. Not only was it very emotional for Mr. Zameer, his family, and Mr. Northrup's family as well, the judge at the end, as she was telling Mr. Zameer that he was released, apologized to him for everything he's been through. Have you seen something like that before?
We don't see that normally when somebody is found not guilty at a trial. Sometimes we hear it many years later when a wrongful conviction is corrected. But I think what this judge was expressing was really a feeling that there was a true injustice that happened here, that he went through this trial in the first place, and really felt that the case was unfair to present against him. And perhaps she was talking about the unfairness of the time he spent in jail, the unfairness of the political leaders sort of weighing in on this case and declaring him guilty long before he ever had his trial, or simply unfair having heard all the evidence that this was not a first-degree murder case.
All right. And some of the evidence that we heard from the police officers who were also plainclothes who were there that night, testifying, saying that Mr. Northrup was up with his hands out at the time when he was struck. Reconstructionists, however, said something different. So that has been highlighted as a discrepancy that some are saying should be looked into further. What would you say to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this isn't just a discrepancy. These are three highly decorated police officers who all gave identically wrong versions of events. And when you have three students in the class who are all friends, who all come up with the exact same wrong answer, you wonder whether or not there's something more to it than simply an accidentally wrong answer. The real question is whether these officers deliberately told untruths in court in order to sway the verdict, in order to help the prosecution's case. And I think it's something that definitely has to be looked into by the Toronto Police.
Do you think an inquiry may come out of this, not just about what was said in court, but also about how plainclothes officers operate out in the city?
I think it certainly warrants some scrutiny. I mean, this was, again, a very tragic event. It's not the type of thing we hear about all the time. I'm not sure that this is a problem that sort of repeats itself again and again. I think there's just really unique facts. But I do think we want to look into this issue about the police testimony and whether or not these officers did something wrong here. Although it was really sort of disheartening when you heard the chief of police yesterday, Chief Demkew, say that he was essentially saying he was disappointed. He was hoping for a different verdict. And I was really shocked by that. I think it's a really chilling thing to know that the chief of police, and he was speaking on behalf of his membership, that they were hoping for a verdict that didn't accord with the evidence, that they were hoping that an innocent man would be found guilty. And I think that should give everyone some pause and concern.
Your reaction to, I guess, even Mr. Zameer's apology. He spoke for the first time to the public yesterday as well after being found not guilty and had some impactful words as well.
Yeah, I think it was heartfelt. I think, he said that at first he was sort of upset he had come to Canada or was, questioning that decision, but he sort of now trusts the justice system, sees the justice system treated him well. I'm not sure we can be so proud about our justice system right now, especially given how we've treated him. But that was a very heartfelt apology. I know he's sorry for what he's done. He's expressed that this is a tragedy, not just for the Northrup family, but for the Zameer family as well.
Okay, Daniel Brown joining us once again. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, right now it is 7:38 here on Breakfast Television. Going to take a look at the forecast and send things over to Frank live at High Park.